Hi, Guzzman here. Election 2016 US. Who's going to win? Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? These are two strong brands. So we're going to look at who is a stronger and most preferred brand. Who is likely going to be winning today and in future. I'm a brand analyst and strategist. I've worked for these very known brands in the world. I'm sure you're using one of the brands. So I was a brand manager, marketing manager, brand director for 25 years in 30 countries. Donald Trump is not a politician. He's been popular, but his popularity shot up due to politics. Politicians are baffled and the whole world is talking about him. So what is that magic he's doing? He's using a preference branding model. Now how? I'm going to explain to you. Now it's interesting. Listen to this carefully. You can use some tips for your own life and your success, right? Most people don't realize the branding is one of the biggest phenomena in the world. Evidence, you look around, you're sitting around brands, right? Half the world, the wealth of the world are brands. Just briefly, what is the preference branding model on which this analysis is based? I'm using metaphors and analogies just to make things simple. Brand science is your mind science. It's a neuroscience, right? Which is your brain, which is the physical side. It has something like 200 billion neurons and it has 1 trillion different connections, axons, dendrites and synapses. Now they talk to each other. So that's the physical side of your brain. Now the software side, the program, the information, what is written on the cells, the memory cells, neurons. So that's the software, right, which is the mind. Now let's make it simple. Mind 1, mind 2, mind 3, as I call it. Now mind 1 is the basic mind, the second mind is the knowledge mind, the third mind is the big boss mind, okay? Now the basic mind runs your kidney, heart, metabolic system and your muscles and all those things. The second mind, which is your knowledge mind, the information that you gather. The third mind is a big boss, and it really is a big boss. It's an independent mind. It uses its own independence. It doesn't use logic and reasoning. It is the big boss, so it is in conflict with other two minds. It listens to itself. So this is the mind that is an important mind in branding, right? People say branding is promise and branding is trust and all. Yes, that is, but that's the secondary thing. Aspect. Listen to this carefully. Your mind, big boss mind, is made of two things that it always seek, right? If you can provide these two important things, you are the winner. The first thing that it has is self-expression, right? It wants to express itself. Now, what are the important elements of self-expression? I call the touch points. The touch points of self-expressions are things like likes and dislikes and motivational points and concerns, issues, sensitivities, biases, playfulness, one side of life. Now, that's what it relies on in terms of making decisions, either buying a product or casting a war. Now the second thing is the belongingness, right? The touch points of belongingness are such as the humans, the mind attaches to powers, the talent, the safeness, the bigness, the reliability. So that's the belongingness. So these two things, if you can give it to when you're positioning your brand in a differentiated way, if you can give that to he, she, or a group of people, then what you do is you connect, you create affinity, you create bonding. You can get votes, sell a lot of products. You can do a personal branding, and so my separate lectures have details of that. These two things are the key, the prime things. The promise of quality, availability, visibility. So that's the second piece, right? That's the operational piece. You have to do that. For example, Donald Trump is selling that as self-expression and belongingness. Now later on he has to actually deliver. If he does not, then you got a problem. Brands, they don't do that. They vanish in thin air. So Dale Carnegie wrote a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now that's the key thing about self-expression he talked about. Dr. Abraham Maslow, a psychologist in US who created this human needs and wants. So he talked about the basic needs like water, food, and so there's a belongingness, right? So we Homo sapiens, we humans actually connect with other people. Now, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Now we're going to look at, these are two strong brands. Hillary Clinton has been in politics for a very long time. Now he's new. He's actually more popular. If you look at just Facebook, he's got 100 million hits. She has less than 50,000 hits. Bernie Sanders, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Jeb Bush, John Kasich, very, very low, 3, 4, 5 million hits. So see, is he controversial? I don't know, right? But he's basically creating that belongingness and self-expression. So what are the concerns in terms of self-expression? There's a deep frustration in the American minds about jobs, economy, and immigration. Of the daily anxieties, they have there's a visible decline in standard of living. So these are the real issues these are the real concerns in the minds in terms of self-expression, right? So who is addressing that more? I think Donald, if you look at the brand, this brand is addressing this more, right? He may be having a controversial way, he may be having a bizarre, like people say, right, way of doing it, but the concerns that you see, people are not stupid, they're smart. If they are not, then other presidential candidates in the election, they are making them smart. Hillary is talking about increasing the wage from $8, $9 to $12. How, Hillary? People are smart. How are you going to do that? One side you're stopping jobs going outside, you're doing that. So US is uncompetitive in terms of unit cost and pricing. So if you increases the wages, you can make them happy. But they say, well, how the economy, which is in deficit, huge, the GDP, less than, it's the debt is more than what, $18 trillion, and the GDP is $17 trillion. So that's a big problem. So, for example, George Pataki, the New York governor, former, he's talking about the welfare is costing money. Then you got Paul Rand talking about, the election should be, the education should be deductible. So it's a welfare system that is making, that's very costly, making US uncompetitive versus China, India. So that's why the jobs are going there. Trump is giving his vision on a street common language terms. He's saying, I'm going to close the borders, the religious minority issues, I'll stop the jobs going outside, I'll penalize. So what happens is, what he's saying is this is in his own way connecting to the common man in terms of this is what the self-expression is. I'm going to fix this problem. Hillary Clinton is not really, giving a vision. She's talking about the reforms, but then more or less she's talking about, more of the same, but what, and perhaps she's living under the shadow of Clintons and Obama. So I think she has to come out of it, because she's now facing Bernie Sanders in the primaries of Democrats. This is April 2016. Now she's faced Bernie Sanders, she's winning more delegates, but when she faces Donald Trump, so she's going to be not all that strong. So that's how, Donald Trump, I don't know if he's going to be nominated, but what I'm saying is, if it is not nominated, he joins some independent political party, and maybe there'll be a chaos. This US election is different than elections happened in the last 100 years. They're going to be more volatile, more dynamics will change, and there'll be a lot of chaos. But then in terms of brands, who is winning as of today? Donald Trump is winning. He has, that messiah kind of image that he has created in terms of belonging. He has a background of, running apprentice television programs, so he has that belongingness from there. He's, success. He's a real estate tycoon. So belongingness comes from there. Hillary has belongingness. There's a huge following she has. So she's strong there, but then as of today, she's not as strong as Donald Trump. For example, she's throwing balls at him. Everybody is throwing balls at criticizing Donald Trump in his presidential, nomination race in primaries. Almost everybody is out now. Marco Rubio is a strong candidate. He's out. Ted Cruz is still struggling, but way behind. He's got 735 delegates. He has got less than 500. So that's today. But my prediction for in the future, there's going to be a lot of change in dynamics of election. There'll be more chaos, I think, because of this Donald Trump factor. Hillary, what is? I would suggest, Hillary Clinton. What is your? I'm not sure what your strategist is thinking and doing. It's a fast-changing world. It's a very fast-changing world. You need to, your strategists need to be, current with the things. It's like my book. Are you changing as fast as the world is? It's very relevant. I'm not saying you buy this book. What I'm saying is it's a fast-changing world. The second thing is my other book, Compete or Get Wiped Out. It's, you have to talk on those lines to make America more competitive. As a brand analyst, if she says, well, give me a strategy, I would say, well, don't throw balls at him. He's good at receiving balls. He just throw more balls. I'm a champion of criticism. He gives it back, and he gives it back in a insulting way or whatever. But that's selection. So people, those who are following him likes that. So don't do that. Instead of criticizing him, just go into side of comparison. For example, you compare, with foreign policy, you compare what he would do, what you would do. In terms of economy, you can say, well, he would isolate, or he's got in terms of he's run his business in autocratic way, so that's not going to work in politics in Washington. So you can use that in terms of indexing, comparison, and all those things. That's where you probably can make some inroads, Hillary, and you say, okay, immigration, this is what you would do, and this, so people can differentiate you. You have to create differentiation. Right now, it's coming out very weak differentiation. I support Hillary, by the way, but anyway, this brand analysis is neutral. You can subscribe to me. I'm next door. I'm in Canada. I do a lot of workshops, so you can email me.